The sun is shining. Something to be grateful for. When was the last time you get into the sun? When was the last time that you got into a state of flow? They call it into the sun, the place where magic happens, the place where your synapses, your mental output is in such a vibrancy that you can perform things that and you amaze yourself. Oh, wow, how I did that. How did I just like nothing throw the ball so far away and I made the basket? And I was just didn't doubt it. And people is like, what did he do? When you were inspired and wrote poetry because you fall in love, or when you cooked this amazing meal and you didn't know how this happened, or when you started speaking to people and you felt inspired, or when you were at work and suddenly all the elements of this environment, you simply knew what to do and then you solved the problems and you became someone that it was solution oriented at its best and could decipher the secrets of the universe. How Einstein created the formulations, how he knew about gravity and energy and matter in such a way that could extrapolate himself in front of his chalkboard and from there connect in such a way with the universe that allows him to see beyond the mathematics and beyond the neurological extensions of our mind to decipher something that it might seem impossible for most people to see and tap into. There's, like they call it, algorithms that in each ray of sun, in each color, in each shape that nature presents, and it's a intricated, beautiful form of magnificent expression. It's beautiful art. I guess when you tap into frequencies that are aligned and tuning with all that is, then you get into this state of presence that we call it in the sun. Getting into the sun is important. You get into the sun when you are getting close to find out what's your purpose in life. Getting into the sun is a nourishing experience. You don't have to. Sometimes getting into the sun is the prelude to the self-realization of the things that you want to do in life, and then you have the clarity for it. I have seen many times in my life getting to this state of presence and flowing with the circumstances and flowing with everything, and suddenly everything feels it's not magic. You're tuning. You're such a good state of presence and appreciation, and then everything comes to you in such a magnificent way that it feels like magic because it's just beautiful to be there. Getting to the sun allow you to make discoveries, allow you to create new concepts, new systems, new ways to generate abundance, new ways to generate beauty, compositions of beauty while you're between the waves surfing, or while you're running among the trees, or when you are just playing with your baby, or when you are doing your groceries. There is not really like a rule for it. You can get into the sun in any circumstance. Some people, I remember once I had a job as a cashier, and then I was in the sun being playful with every single person. Got used to like interact with the person. I started laughing and sharing something, and you just get into this flow, and everybody was just wanted to come through me because you were just having such a good time. But I was in the sun, I was in a good mood. More likely getting into the sun relates to being in a good mood as well. It happens that you don't call it getting into the sun, but you can get into a stream of the opposite of it. Sometimes you get into this and it's just what matches, expresses into your personality and your frequencies, and it matches what it comes to you into reality. That's how it goes. Sometimes you are like feeling really bad, and things are happening to you, and they keep things happening to you. You know, the car accidents, fight with someone, the loss of something, and the anything negative that relates to it. That just doesn't happen much too often to me. That's why I cannot like give you much example. But let's say back in the time, one of those days that you feel, what else worse could happen? One of those days, who hasn't had one of those? Come on, I have had those for sure. Let me remember though. I am a bad example because I don't have bad examples. No way, there must be one. There must be one. Like, okay, like hurting my feet because I went running or something. Oh yeah, I stumbled into something and then coming back at home and finding out that I need to do something that I don't want to do, and then a relationship went to hell. A relationship went to hell with someone that I was with, and then just feeling the feeling of going down the hill, feeling awful, and feeling worse, and feeling, oh my God, I'm worthless. But when you go down, it is more like evident when you feel when you go up. Being down, many times in my life, at this point in my life, I already do feel down, but like I mentioned before, I just feel contrast as spices to spice my life. Contrast situations are the opposite of what I want, are simply instances and moments in life which I don't really give them much of my attention. I acknowledge them, but I don't stay there. Why you want to stay there is you're surfing, let's say, and you're in the sun when you're on top of the curl and catching the wave and going and see the brilliancy and the transparency of the ocean and looking at the coral reef and the fish and the sun is coming up and you're breathing that nice oxygen coming out of the ocean and you just feel, and then the wave catch you and take you down and you are under the wave, struggling, fighting for your life. Quickly went from paradise to hell. Now you're like struggling and going down the wave and trying to put yourself together, and then, oh my God, this is my last moment of life, but I don't want to be here. Just calm down. Calm down. As any good surfer will tell you, never battle the ocean. You always will lose. Just relax. Just relax. Let the waves do what it does, and then it settles quickly, and then you just softly surface and take a deep breath, and everything was okay. I mentioned before in one of the topics before that I should be using more examples of surfing, and I will, because it's fun. It is fun to do more examples of surfing. So, get into the sun, highly recommended. The more you get into the sun, the more it's a symptom, it's a reflection, it's something that is getting closer and closer to get you into a higher state of presence. Not higher, but it's in a state of presence that is tuned between yourself and with this beautiful reality that you call this planet. When you look at this planet, oh, come on, whatever created this planet was in the freaking sun to create something so gorgeous and beautiful. Have you traveled around? Have you go and see the colors of the ocean in different places, the feelings of the ocean, of rivers, of mountains? The colors of mountains are so different, so diverse. The little creatures that cohabit these places. Oh my goodness. The air smells different. The sky, the sky is different in every place you go. LA sky is completely different than a Peruvian sky. In Peru itself, the sky in the mountains is different from in the coast or the rainforest. The sky in Europe, even in the countries in Europe, they are so different one from each other. The sky, one of the most beautiful skies that you could ever see, the sky in Madrid. The sky in Madrid is just, it has this blue that is unreal. When the sky is open, it's blue as it can be. And you're like, what is this? In which fantasy of someone I am right now? Getting into the sun is highly recommended. How to get into the sun? Maybe that should be another topic. It's pretty simple. The more tuning and balance you are between yourselves and everything is matching each other, simply you just flow into that state. It's allowing things to be, allowing things to flow. And as again the ocean, to get into that curl, to get into that state of motion. It's going with the flow. It's like going with the sun. The more you go with the flow, the more you get into these high states of excitement, or not necessarily excitement, but clarity and inspiration. Inspiration, that's the word. You get how to get inspired. Many people will ask me, how you as Perkunas can create all this food when I've been cooking for many years. How you can walk into a kitchen and just create things from scratch. I had these food demonstrations, and I will tell people, just bring whatever you have, whatever you found. And people will bring the weirdest things, some flowers that they have in the garden. They see if this is edible, some herbs and some vegetables I never see, or some fruits I never see, which I fucking love it, because then I'm gonna create something new. But it's easy for me, because it's like cooking is, I don't play music, but it's like I relate to musicians, because I know how the rhythms have the flavors, aromas, and textures, and you can play with it and compose something. If I feel a fruit I never ate before, I touch it, I see the colors, already tells me something. I see the shape, it already tells me something. Your brain already makes the connections. I see the smell, it tells me a lot. Sometimes just by looking at it, I already know what to do. Then I taste it, and that confirms it, because sometimes the colors represent the flavors. And by the way, I'm creating the cooking book with all recipes. How's that? And also, cooking is a big part of my experiences that I do around the world. And when you learn to, what I'm explaining you right now, to tune into the frequencies of something, and then like your brain makes the connections to create something new, it feels like I get into the zone right there. But it's incredible. It is beautiful too. It is beautiful how people that sometimes don't have previous experience cooking can create such a wonderful things just by tuning their attention towards things that they didn't do before. I take them into the garden and let them smell this and that and taste this and that, and then we carry these elements into the kitchen and they compose something. They naturally induce them into getting into the zone, feeling inspired, and then doing a new creation. And that you can apply in every aspect of your life. That's a wonderful thing about, because cooking is something that you do eating, you eat more likely 3 times a day. If you have 3 times a day to experience something that is going to tune into something inspiring, you can apply that to every circumstance in your life. Can you see the extrapolation there? That's what cooking is fascinating, and growing your garden, growing your own food that goes along with it. It's not just healthy for you, healthy for the planet, blah, 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 blah. I told you I will keep telling these things because they are so worth to talk about these things. If I could tell something, I've been telling you. I'm telling you how important it is, how wonderful it is to have a life of self-reliance and grow your own foods and be independent, and don't let yourself influenced by the things, by the energies that want to control you and convert you into a slave, literally. I rarely complain, sometimes I do. And when I do, I erase it from this. Why to express something like that is not positive? If I maybe do a practical example, but I want to fill your mind with the goodness of life. I want to fill your mind with the possibilities and the clarity and the flow of things and the transparency of this presence of who I am, and whatever I can give you that supports the energy of abundance and prosperity and finding your purpose and finding the clarity for you to become who you want to be, you'll get it. This is Perkunas, talking about getting into the sun. This is Perkunas, the catalyst, your guidance, and I'll see you in the next topic.